So I'm going to ask two of our panelists that have been on the stage before to come back on the stage. So we have Susan Lindner, who's a global keynote speaker and host of the Innovation Storytellers Show. She's helping the people tell amazing stories, and she has a podcast of over 24,000 innovation professionals every month turning in to listen to her and her guests. She's a force to be reckoned with, as is Daiana Davis, who was just on stage. So I think I'll leave it at that since we know who you are. And it's called Pre-Launch of Visionaries. Come join the party.
Hi again, everyone, and thank you so much for staying with us throughout this day. I know it's been long, but hopefully it's also been exciting. I feel we had a great day getting a lot of insights on emerging technologies, showcasing Nordic solutions, and talking about how the Nordics and the US can collaborate to even greater extent that we do today. So thank you to all of you. So Bifrost Summit is a true Nordic collaboration, and we would also like to end the day with a celebration of a true Nordic collaboration. And that's an upcoming project that we called Nordic Visionaries. And for this project, I am very excited and also very honored that we have Susan Lindner on stage here again. And I don't think we said this in the beginning, but Susan actually flew in all the way from New York just today to be here with us. So thank you so much for that, Susan. Could you tell us a little bit more about the Nordic Visionary Project?
I'm so excited. I'm so excited we're doing this at the end of our day. So I'm thrilled to announce that I'm going to be the host of this new podcast called Nordic Visionaries, where we invite some of the greatest thought leaders, CEOs, strategists, scientists, policymakers, researchers, to discuss this incredible intersection between innovation and sustainability through the lens of the Nordics. Here in the States, we have so much to learn from Nordic visionaries, and I'm glad that we have a platform now to do that. So on the show, you're going to be hearing some of the most incredible stories, really, about what's coming out new, the latest and the greatest from the Nordics around innovation, sustainability, strategy, and leadership. And so I'll be interviewing some of these phenomenal human beings where they're sharing their insights and secrets with all of us. So I couldn't be more thrilled to do that.
Thank you so much, Susan. And as you mentioned, we have a really great lineup of guests already who all have either a fascinating take on innovation in a sustainable context or an interesting way of highlighting how the Nordics lead leadership and innovation. So on board, we have everything from Danish star architect Bjarke Ingels to the CEO of Tomra, Tove Andersen, Transforming Waste Management, that's a Norwegian company, to Finnish author, best-selling author Anu Bradford, and many others. So we're really excited to be launching this. And maybe could you share a few insights, Susan, from some of the interviews you've already had with some of these guests?
Yes, so I've been working behind the scenes. I've already interviewed 4 or 5 of these fantastic human beings. And I can tell you, it's an honor to learn at the feet of these masters from the Nordics. So I learned from, from Anne, how important it is to cultivate citizen input into our climate initiatives. She runs these phenomenal hacks for Sweden, hackathons for Sweden, and hackathon for the globe that are really transforming new strategies and methodologies for dealing with climate and climate change. I had a fantastic conversation with Matthias Wilkström, who through Duckonomy, if you're not familiar with it, is even figuring out how financial institutions can help raise awareness among their customers to get clear about how they can make an impact on the climate. And Peter Narbo, I'm going to hopefully say it. Am I getting that right?
Very close.
Very close. Please correct me at all times when it comes to pronouncing these phenomenal names. Peter has been, was a phenomenal guest. I learned from him that thanks to our lovely devices and AI, where data centers are actively using creating more carbon emissions and using more energy than the airline industry. And so we need to get really clear about our own impact. And those are some of the conversations that we're having on Nordic Visionaries.
Yes, so Nordic Visionaries is launching on April 1st, but already following up on some of the insights that Susan got, we're super excited to give you a little bit of a teaser of what you can expect once the podcast launches. So without further ado, let's see if we can get a little video going. Full sound. I know, right? Yeah, why not, right? Chill.
People are very concerned with the state of the planet, with the state of the climate crisis. I think most of them just call it risk now because it's so omnipresent. So you don't even have to reference it as the climate crisis. It comes down to risk and different kinds of risks in our lives. And what they see is their political leadership stepping away. So they turn to other entities, to other institutions to help them contribute to solving the problem that they face.
So what is it that you think has made the Nordics so successful?
Mix of two different things. First of all, I think one of the biggest contributors to so many innovative ideas coming out of Sweden and the Nordics is that there is a very strong social security net. So if your company idea fails, most citizens know that the social security net will take care of them. So that's why a lot of people who have an innovative idea, they dare take the leap, the chance.
When I started studying the data center industry, I found that they were already polluting more than the airline industry because of all the fossil fuel that was consumed to produce power for these big data centers.
Wait, and I want to just stop you there for a second because there's so many interesting dichotomies that we can learn from just in this conversation alone. So the fact that Norway sits on a ton of oil, right? You sit on a ton of fossil fuels, and it's brought so much prosperity and so much opportunity to Norway as a small country, and yet the desire and the push for using renewable resources is central to, I think, both the culture and the mindset, right, of using what is renewable rather than just using what is available. Well, we really hope that you'll be interested in following the podcast. And a little bit later, we're going to tell you how to like, subscribe, and follow to the podcast. But first, we'll watch it again.
Watch it again.
It was just that good. We want to know from you who should be the next Nordic visionary. And so maybe, Daiana, you can share a little bit more about what we're thinking.
Yes, so we thought it's end of the day, we want you to be engaged and involved, so maybe if we go on the next slide, what we would really love you guys to do now is to take up your phones and either scan this QR code, and if that doesn't work, go into your browser and press menti.com. So everyone, it's just a browser solution. We don't have to download any app or anything. And then once you're in Menti, you have to enter the code that's up on the screen. So 56639750. So maybe we can go into the browser window, and that will take you into this. And we thought we would start with a little warm-up question. So the first thing that we would like to hear from you guys that you should be able to see on your phones now is a question on what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of the Nordics. Are you guys able to see that on your phone? Does it come up? Perfect. The code, yeah. And anything is legal here, so whatever comes to your mind, and you can put in multiple suggestions, so you can press submit, and then more things come up, and there are no right or wrong answers here, so whatever you think of, you can put in. I feel we should have done a split of what the Americans put in versus what the Nordics put in, right? But
yeah, that would be very interesting.
Wow, a lot of interesting things coming up. Let's give it a few more seconds. Zlatan? So Susan, is there anything already up here that surprises you?
So none of mine are on this list already. How is that possible? So what I think of when I think of the Nordics is aquavit, reindeer meat, and skis on feet. That is what I think about when I think of the Nordics.
We don't see those, yeah.
Not yet, but feel free to keep adding, people.
Yes, exactly.
And if we don't have innovation on this list, Vikings, right? There's no way around Vikings, is there? Right?
So it was funny when we initially did this user analysis for the podcast, we did a lot of interviews where we asked people the same question. And what were some of the things that came up were saunas, it was elk and mooses, and it was cold. So I saw cold up there also. So yeah, so really interesting. But thank you so much for playing along, guys. I think Vikings and Zlatan is some of the the biggest one.
I was going to be very upset if I didn't see innovation on this
It's
list
on
today.
there.
Yeah, that we're going to have a big problem. That's perfect.
What about Nordic design? I feel that should also. Oh, design is there. Wild salmon. Yeah.
I want Greenland. I see that up there.
You see,
I want Greenland.
a lot of people want Greenland, Susan.
I know, it's a problem. It's a problem. Who knew it would become the most popular country of the year? Yeah, I demand Greenland.
Okay, so with that, we want to jump into our next question. So thank you for playing this little warm-up exercise with us. And for our next question, we would really love to hear your opinion on, for the next recordings that Susan and I will be doing, who would you like to see as the next Nordic visionary? And maybe just to recap, a Nordic visionary is someone who has a particularly interesting take on innovation in a sustainable context and is highlighting the Nordic shape of global leadership and innovation across the Nordics and the US. So anyone that comes to mind here. Also here we don't have any wrong or right answers, so please just feel free to shoot. Maybe we should get Zlatan on board.
Maybe we should.
Yeah. Give you a few more minutes here.
Eric the Red.
Eric the Red.
That is a tough interview.
Sounds like a reindeer cartoon. Eric the Red. Robert Strand. So we actually already have Robert Strand on board, so that's really great. That's I feel there's a trend going on here. So Susan, what is your take on these suggestions?
I would like to see a show of hands. Who has a first level connection with Greta Thunberg? Anyone? Anyone? No? Okay. Second level. We'll take it. We'll take it.
They can be both places. Both. Yeah, so actually we're interviewing both people who are in the Nordics, but it can also be people who are here who have a Nordic connection. So some of the speakers we have who are located here is Robert Strand, who is the director of the Nordic Center up at UC Berkeley. You had a call with him earlier. He's very passionate about the Nordics.
Very passionate. Yeah. The Crown Prince of Norway went to Berkeley where he teaches. So he's very excited that he'll become king one day and Berkeley's greatest alumni.
Wow, that's new information to me. Mm-hmm. Okay, I think we will please just continue throwing in suggestions here. We will keep this open a little bit more so we have a great pool of people to reach out to. So again, thank you all for your great suggestions. And I think maybe we'll switch over to the presentation so we can show the last slide, because as we mentioned, the podcast will launch on April 4th. And we would love for all of you to scan the QR code, which is right here, where you will get notified when the podcast is coming out. And not to worry, we're not going to spam you with any other emails, but we will make sure to send you and let you know once the podcast is out. There's also these little flyers on the chairs and around the tables where you can also scan and see it. And then we did initially say that this is a celebration, and obviously there's no celebration without cake. So in a little bit, we're all going to merge into the next room in there, and then we would love to celebrate with you as part of the reception and have some Nordic Visionaries cake. But before we do that and we give the word to our great MCs, I want to ask you, Susan, because I know there are 3 questions that you always ask your guests when you do the podcasts, but I don't think I've ever actually heard you answer to them. At least I haven't heard so. So I would like to know, the first question is, what's the greatest innovation of all time in your
Nutella.
Nutella.
No, sorry. Sorry, it just comes right off the top of my head.
I
Nutella.
can echo that.
Yeah. The greatest innovation of all time. 200 episodes now. I've heard lots of answers to this question, but I think for me the answer is language. Without being able to communicate with one another, we wouldn't have code, we wouldn't have the internet if we can't say things like, I love you to each other. So language for me comes first.
That's beautiful. I like that. And the next question would be, if you could join any innovation team in history, which one would it be?
This is a tough one. So many good ones. I think I would like to join the team that discovered the cure for polio. I think we're nothing without our health, and preserving that is so important. So that would be my team.
Okay, very cool. I think my team would be NASA. I just always loved rockets and space.
Yeah. Who doesn't love a rocket?
I know, right? Last question, and I really like this one. I'm always intrigued what your guests say when you ask this question. What's something you wish you could be innovated, either because it drives you crazy or because you want to make the world a better place?
Well, I start with rage. So my rage typically begins with boarding an airplane and trying to get my overhead bin, trying to get off the plane in an orderly way without people pushing. So if I could change anything, if I could innovate anything, it's getting on and off a plane. But maybe it would also be just peace, given everything that we've seen. How can we innovate war out of our society? That would be ideal.
Wow. So on that note, thank
Just
you.
the small goals here.
Just the
This
small.
is what we do with Nordic Visionaries, small goals.
With that, I just want to say thank you for these reflections, Susans, but also for bringing all these amazing stories to life. So I'm looking very much forward to listening to the podcast episodes when they come out. Thank you to this great audience for playing along with us. And with that, I'll give the word to our wonderful MCs. So thank you.
Thank you.
Great. We do have a
Some
like
special
we've heard,
guests?
Yeah, we do have 2 special guests. We have representatives from the General Consulate of Sweden, Henrik Bergfeldt. Sorry. And we do have from Norway.
Our wonderful Norwegian Consul General, Gry Robbe Henriksen.
Great. Welcome up on stage.
Thank you, and
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Now we're between you and the cake, so we're going to stay here for a while. No, just kidding. Just wanted to, on behalf of the Nordic consulates in California, thank you for being here today. It's great to see many familiar faces as well as some new ones from all the Nordic countries and some friends of Norway here in the Bay Area. My name is Gry Henriksen. I'm Consul General for Norway, and I'm joined here by Henrik Bergfeldt from Sweden.
Yes, and I'm Henrik Bergfeldt. I'm the Deputy Consul General of Sweden here in San Francisco. And we are here to welcome you to a reception, a Nordic reception. And it's not only us, it's also Finland and Denmark and Iceland sponsoring this reception. And this consular networking reception has become a tradition. It's become an integral part of the Bifrost Summit, and we are happy to do this again. The Nordic collaboration in the Bay Area is strong, but we are always looking at new ways to deepen and strengthen these connections. And we think that Bifrost is a great example of how the Nordic countries come together and foster innovation, partnership, and community.
Yeah, and we're very proud of the Bifrost Summit as a Nordic project to connect the Nordics with Silicon Valley over many years now. And it's really important that you are here. We really appreciate you taking the time to come here and to showcase what the Nordics have to offer. but also to take the temperature of the business climate here. And I hope you take away with you an impression that California is interested in international partnerships and open for business. In this little bit turbulent times, we feel that we strongly recommend you to come here and continue doing business. We've covered many important topics today, very timely and current topics like dual-use technology, funding and scaling of AI and semiconductor startups, and quantum ecosystems. And I think we all can agree that the Nordics and Europeans need to step up our game in innovation and technology, and that we do have a lot to bring to the table. Including our values that sort of we base all we do on, and we need to stand strong and represent those values going forward.
Great. So before going to starting the networking event, we would like to also thank the team behind Bifrost moderators. We know how much work you have put into this. Very much appreciated. Bravo. Thank you. And I think with that we can declare the Nordic consular networking event opened, and I think we will stay here for the event. And if you have questions, you want to cooperate with Sweden or Norway, please come up to us and say hello. And I think the event will take place in that room, right? So I leave that to the moderators to.
Yeah, and maybe before we leave the microphones back to you, I would suggest a big applause for the organizing team.
Very good idea.
So, you've heard us talk probably too much throughout this this day, so we're just going to close it out. Thank you so much for the wonderful words to both of you. We really appreciate your continued partnership and support of Bifrost and all of our different activities in the Valley. Thank you to the participants. Thank you for the sponsors. Thank you for the speakers, the panelists, and the staff that made this happen and made us look good.
Yes.
Did I forget anyone?
No, I just agree with everything you said. And hands up to Begga, who's been our project leader throughout Bifrost Summit. And one happy news is that all the sponsors and all the partners and all the companies that have been joined, if you watched our feed at LinkedIn, you'll see that all of your logos have been blasted out at Times Square in New York.
All right, so final thank you, and join us in the next room where we had lunch.
Yes, thank you. And see you next year.